I am here with Asta Bush.
Hello.
Hello, a recent transplant from Sweden, correct?
Yes, Stockholm, Sweden.
Stockholm, Sweden, the capital, correct?
Yes, the
You have now
capital.
reached the extent of my knowledge of Sweden.
Oh, that's not a lot.
No, it's actually kind of sad. So, hey, that's one reason I got you here. You're going to
Hmm.
educate me, everybody watching this later. And first of all, Asta Bush is your proper name, but you also go by Ambush, correct?
Yes, I
Okay.
do.
And you are, how would you describe yourself?
Myself or my channel?
Well, both. Everything. All in one big package.
Oh God. Well, I'm 24, and I recently just moved to California about 3 months ago now, 4, I think. And this is my first time moving out of the country, so I've been living in Sweden my whole life. And I am a Apex content creator, recently signed to Liquid.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
I can't remember what the tweet was that made me start following you on Twitter because there are a lot of Apex content creators out there. It's this sort of new thing that's cropped up in the last 2 or 3 years as the game hits its fourth anniversary. But I don't know, I can't remember the tweet, but I said that'll get you a follow. And I don't know if it had to do with Pathfinder
Uh,
or not because I'm a little
That's
biased.
it's probably a tweet about like the game in general.
Yeah, might have been.
Probably me just like maybe like I love Apex, but when you love something, you feel very strongly about it. So I'll
Yeah,
put out my opinions a little bit now and then. So that's probably what happened.
that's okay. I have learned about Apex. A lot of the people that claim to hate it actually love it, but they're
Yeah,
frustrated and they
yeah,
want it
yeah.
to be it's their
Great.
baby.
Yeah, they want to see it do great. So like when something is not great, they get a little bit frustrated.
I just recorded new content yesterday, and
Hmm.
every now and then, as a joke, I will throw in a fix SBMM content in there for them to
Yeah.
for us to joke about. But that seems to be the thing they're actually trying to fix.
Yeah, I know, but so far because they put out a patch recently and I haven't really noticed anything. So
Okay.
I'm not really sure, but at least they're trying.
Yeah, we will suspend our judgment on that. I will say that the private lobbies I'm having a lot of fun with.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
That's
I
good. How do you feel about the 30 requirement?
I talked to them about that, and I have to remind myself that when I'm talking to respawn people at a record, I'm talking to people that write the content. They're not the
Yeah.
devs. They
Yeah.
don't fix patches. They don't do that stuff. They're
Yeah.
there to give me the things to say and to direct me. So I always try to be very respectful and realize that I'm not talking to somebody who can just pull a
Yeah.
lever and go, "Oh, we're sorry, SBMM fixed. We didn't know that the voice of Pathfinder wanted it changed." So
See, I talk to people that changed the game, so
yes.
I'm a little bit like, oh,
Yeah.
like I
See,
can
they'll
demand a little
they'll
bit.
listen to your tweets. Me, they just say, it's a voice actor. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
Um,
My God.
yeah, you just do your little monkey boy dance, Chris. Okay. Well,
You do
yeah,
this and that, and you're fine.
right.
That's it.
But I have a very small stream, and I have a very small but tight community, and so we can get together 30 or 40 people for the private lobbies, and we have a lot of fun.
It's
I know
good.
that for the larger streamers, getting 60 people is not a problem, but
Yeah.
there are not just smaller streamers, but some people who just love the game that don't know how to get 30 people together.
Yeah.
And my guess is that that just is going to take a lot of bandwidth for them to make a private lobby happen for anyone. So I'm hoping they can reduce the size
Mm.
to something where more people can join in.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Because, like, I know a lot of people don't actually want to have 30 people as well. They just kind of like want to go in and do like some fun stuff or like for content and stuff.
Yeah,
So I think that if they reduced it, it could be a lot of fun for a lot more people.
right. Now, how often are you streaming? And is it always Apex or do you occasionally venture out in other stuff?
Well, I do 6 days a week.
Okay.
So I'm a full time and I try to do 8 to 10 hours a day, which is a
Wow.
lot. Yeah, it's,
Okay.
it's a lot. Um, And I used to mainly just be Apex, but I've
Yeah.
been trying to venture out a little bit. So like I've been trying to do like 5 hours of Apex and then like just like a variety game to kind of
Right.
like cut it off and just like make it easier for me too to just do longer streams.
Right.
Because it could be a little bit like I love Apex, but sitting there for like 8 to 10 hours can be a little bit draining.
It sitting doing anything for 8 to 10
Yeah,
hours can
yeah,
be a little bit draining. And this,
yeah.
I I had never streamed before. When the game came out in 2019, I wasn't even aware of it
Mm,
because well, I got booked to be Pathfinder in 2018.
okay.
So this is how far back this goes.
Yeah.
And when they were recording me, I guess it was either the beginning of 2019 or late 2018. And I said, so when do you guys going to launch the game? And they said February 4th, I think. And I said, okay, cool. You going to do a big promotion for it? And they said, no, we're just going to make an announcement on the 3rd and then we're going to launch. I said, oh, okay, good. Good luck with that.
You're like, shit.
Yeah. And I honestly, and the game blew up, but I honestly paid zero attention to it until the summer of 2019, where my brother, who games more than I do, said, yeah, you should play this game. It's fun. Your character's fun. I said, okay. So I started playing it, and I'm horrible at it, and I'm still horrible at it,
Yeah.
but it's a hard game. But
It is. It
yes,
is.
it is. It is hard, and it rewards people who put in 8 to 10 hours. But
Mm,
everybody else, okay, hey, good luck. But
yeah.
I started streaming a little bit because I thought it would be fun for the voice of somebody in this game who's truly awful at it to stream it, have fun, talk to people, use the voice, just connect with the community because I
Yeah.
enjoy that. And I noticed how hard streaming is. It feels to the outsider like you push the red button, you make sure the camera's on you, and that's it. And it is just so not that.
It's a lot more of a commitment.
Yeah,
We sit in front of the camera, we don't really move. Like we don't have a break. We don't do anything. We eat on stream.
right.
We like the only break we have is like when we go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And that's like what, 2 minutes
And then it's a
max.
chair stream, is all
Yeah,
it
and
is.
people are like, "Where is she? Where is she? Where'd she go?" I was like, "I
And
had to pee."
yeah, I'm not
So
going to sit here with the bucket.
yeah, I'm sorry, you don't want to see that. But yeah, but you have to also like it's a lot of multitasking. You have to always like pay attention to everything. You have to entertain and just like be very creative with what you do so that people don't get bored.
Right.
And so that you can kind of like I guess like why would you watch me when you can watch someone else? You have to create like that content that kind of like speaks to people and like makes them feel like, "Oh, I want to watch her stream rather than someone else's."
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of streamers out there, so you have to try and just like I guess like kind of like take your content and make it your own so that people feel like your stream is different from everyone else's.
Yeah. And there are people who will have several streams open at once and watch
Yeah.
them in
Oh yeah.
different ways. They'll be engaged on one, the other one they'll just have up. Some people treat it almost like a podcast. I've had people say
Yeah.
that. I've got your stream on in the background. I said, okay, whatever, whatever
Yeah.
floats your boat, I guess. But
I do that all the time. Like if I'm cleaning, I'll put someone like on my computer and I just have it in the background.
right. And I kind of liken the experience of streaming to driving a car, but you've got a passenger. So
Mm,
when you're driving and it's just you can be pretty relaxed. You can jam
yeah.
to your tunes.
Yeah.
You can think about the things you want to think about. But when you've got that passenger, your peripheral vision narrows and suddenly you're a little distracted and you're not quite the same person.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
talking to them, you're just your attention gets bifurcated
Hmm.
and streaming can be that exponentially.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. And you're trying, to do your best with like entertaining and then driving at the same time.
Yeah, and on top of that, you've got the pressure, especially now since you're signed to Team Liquid. Now, Team Liquid, do they also field a competitive team, or are they basically out here to make content and draw an audience?
They had a Apex comp team, but they recently dropped them for some reason. But
Okay,
so now they have me and AC and Tifa. They're two other Apex streamers. And we are like the face, I guess, for content for Apex. For
gotcha.
Liquid.
And as far as again, I don't know a whole lot about how this works, but when they sign you, is it basically a contract for you to stream a certain number of hours a week of that particular content? Are there numbers they need you to hit? Things like that?
Yeah, so because they have a contract with Twitch as
Uh-huh.
well, so they require me to stream a certain amount of hours every month. It's something I can negotiate, but mostly like it's like mostly just like a term to have, but like if something happens, like if I travel a lot or something like that, they're pretty, like, that's fine. You're still working, so like we understand, or if I get sick.
Yeah, I see a lot of people online. Like, I'm in voice acting, and my follows are filled with a lot of people who are either voice actors or who are wanting to get into it or who love Apex.
Yeah.
I see all the time people who are grinding, trying to get into voice acting, or grinding with the voice acting careers they already have, trying to move up a level. I'm sure, and I do notice people doing the same thing with their streaming and with
Hmm.
wanting to get signed to a team. So this is something, you're already in a position that a lot of people want to be in. Is it something that once you're signed, you feel like financially a lot of your concerns are put aside, or is it something you still feel you have to grind for?
I like having goals in my life because like
Yeah.
it just makes me push forward. But like I guess like it kind of like gives me a little bit more of like a comfort, I guess,
Yeah.
knowing that I have signed, so that I can focus mostly on my content without like being very, because like obviously they pay me, I pay a check every month. They pay me to be a part of their team.
Right.
So that kind of gives me comfort and like just like a more of just like everything just feels a little bit more stable because as a content creator, you rely on subscribers and stuff like that, but then also any ad deals that you do, like promotions and stuff, or like, yeah, if I do like um a sponsorship for a company. So I guess now when I'm signed to Liquid, I'm definitely not slowing down.
Right.
Because obviously like a lot of people kind of like misunderstand that like they're like they'll be like, okay, I signed to this org, now I can take it easy. But I mean,
Yeah.
if you sign to an org, you want to show them that they signed the right person. So you want
Hmm.
to keep on pushing and keep on creating good content and showing them that, oh, in 2 years, I want to resign with you guys and you guys want to resign with me because you see that even though I'm signed right now, I'm still pushing and I'm still like growing and keeping my content up.
Right. And so it's a 2-year contract?
Yes.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I know 2-year contracts. I'm the Simpsons and Fox, it's 2 years, 2 years at a
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in the case of a streamer, it's really about, yeah, once you meet that minimum that they require of you, like you say, you don't want to just do the minimum for them. You want to go above and beyond.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of how I came up. When I was 24, I was a stand-up comedian.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, and when I was 23, I moved away from home. I did not go from Stockholm to Los Angeles. I went from Savannah, Georgia, which is probably a city you've never heard of, to
I
you might have vaguely heard of it. Don't
yeah.
feel bad. It's okay. Yeah. To Orlando, Florida, which was a good way to go from small town to bigger city, but not quite the big league. So it was how I
Yeah.
got started.
Yeah.
And I remember all the other comedians I hung out with, the actors, because I was getting into acting too, the amount of time we spent grinding. And
Hmm.
I look at people, especially people your age, who are spending 8 to 10 hours a day streaming. And I remember mentioning this to my wife, who came from the corporate world. I said, 8 to 10 hours a day, how do you do that? 4, 5, 6 days a week. And she said, baby, that's like an office job. I don't know
Yeah.
if you realize how much people have to work in offices, in cubicles, or even the ones working from home. She said if these people weren't doing this streaming, they'd probably have to have a job like that. And at least this is something they know that they have control over and enjoy
Hmm.
more. And I said, yeah, it puts it into context because when I was 24, I once drove 8 hours to a one night stand up gig that was going to pay me $75 and they canceled it.
Oh my
So I drove
God.
back home with nothing, cursing the name of the city that I was leaving. Just like, fuck you, Birmingham, and driving home.
Oh
And
my, you had to pay for gas.
yeah, I had to pay for all that.
Minus. Oh my God.
And then I look at somebody streaming 8, 10 hours thinking, that's crazy. And then I realized not any crazier
Yeah.
than you were.
Yeah.
right, coming up. And so this is simply the world you're in.
Yeah, it depends on like how passionate you are and like how much you want it. Because like when it comes to streaming, you stream like you make what you make
Right,
because you put in the hours. Like if I want to have a good paycheck, I know it's because I need to push my hours and I need to stream, you know. So like I don't have a set like obviously now with Liquid I have a paycheck from them, but like before that, you know, I had to stream to make as much as I needed or as I wanted, you know, and you put in those extra hours because that's the only way. So
right.
like so and I like to treat it as a very like I treat it as a job. Like I take my job very seriously. So like I like to put up a schedule. I like to stick to that. I like to always like push myself. Like I don't go off
Hmm.
before at least like 7 hours. I try to push it to like maybe 8 to 10 and stuff like I always have that. I'm very strict about that.
Hmm.
So like it just makes it more disciplined and it makes me feel like I'm actually going to work every day. Because I'm used to having more of a 9 to 5 standard job. That's what I did before. And I've only been doing this for about 3.5 years. So
Okay.
it
So,
makes me,
no, go ahead.
it just makes me f feel more like I have a routine.
Okay. So you're. It sounds to me like you were maybe in college or university when you were just discovering the game, or were
Um,
you already done?
no, so I went photography school, but then I
Okay.
didn't really know what I wanted to do after that because I like photography, but I didn't love it.
Hmm.
So I've always just worked a lot of different works, jobs anywhere that I could, you know, like whatever I found that I enjoyed. So I've tried a lot of stuff.
Right.
And when Apex came around, I think I was working at Victoria's Secret as a visual manager, which means
Hmm.
that I styled the store,
Right.
in Stockholm.
Hmm.
So Apex came out and I tried it out because it looked so much fun. My ex was playing it, and I usually hate online games
Yeah.
because it made me very nervous and like having to play with people I didn't know just like
Right.
really took me off. But I tried it out and I loved it. And he was like, "You should really stream." And I was like, "No, God, no." I was like, "Never." I was like, "That's not for me."
Yeah.
And I didn't even really know what streaming was because I didn't watch Twitch at all. I
Right.
used to watch YouTube. That's about it.
Hmm.
And he was like, "Just try it out." And I was like, "No." And he nagged me for like 3 months. And then he bought me a webcam and he's like, "Just try it out." And I was like, "Fuck." And I did. And I loved it.
Uh-huh.
And then I just started doing it every day while working my 9 to 5 job,
Right.
because I enjoyed it.
Hmm.
And then I think I had like 4,000 followers when COVID struck.
Hmm.
I lost my job because of COVID. So I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know. So I started full-time streaming and it worked out really well.
Yeah. So far, so good for sure.
Yeah, so far so good.
But for anyone watching, I would say that there are always a lot of different factors when someone's successful at anything.
Mm,
And I talk about this with what I did in stand up. And stand up for me was something I was passionate about in the beginning. And I lost some of that because as you go deeper and deeper into your career, you have to travel more and more. And if
yeah.
you want to continue to move up and if you want to continue to grind, after a while, you start to reach an age where a lot of people begin to think, I want to put down roots. I want to
Mm,
be in one place all the time. And that's where I got to. And I saw other people that didn't have that concern keep going. And
yeah.
then in voice acting, it's the same thing. You have to be willing to send in Lord knows how many auditions before work can come.
Mm,
And it's usually not one little thing that happens that sets everything else in motion. And that's what I would say as far as streaming goes. I don't know of anyone that starts off and immediately has a large audience.
oh,
They
no,
have
no,
to
no.
discover you.
Yeah, 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 always. Like I get that question a lot. People are like, "How do you grow your stream?" And like a lot of people would be like, did you start from like no viewers?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." Like I didn't know what I was doing.
Right,
I didn't know anyone that streamed.
right.
A lot of people in the Apex community kind of like know each other, and they like
Hmm.
that's because like their friends started streaming, so they also did. But coming from Sweden, where streaming isn't really as big as it is in the US, and
Hmm.
like not a lot of people are doing it. I didn't know anyone, so like
Hmm.
I just kind of came into it blind, and I think just like I just did it without having any expectations, and I did it without having any pressure. So I just had fun with it. And I think
Right.
that's kind of like what people enjoyed
Hmm.
because they noticed that I really liked streaming.
Hmm.
So it's a lot more fun to watch when you know that they actually like what they do.
Yes. Well, and incidentally, my wife is also a photographer. She loves
Oh,
photography,
okay.
and she was this close to really pursuing it, but we have kids,
Yeah.
and she also decided there are other things she wanted to put her energy into, and it's for her, it's music.
Mm-hmm.
That's her
Oh,
true
fun.
passion. She loves photography. She has a photographer's eye, and I'm sure if she were to see your background right now, she'd say, "Oh yeah, I could see why she's a photographer. The lighting is just right, the composition." It's like, well, that's a yeah. I mean, that's something for you and her that probably you almost don't think about. You just
Yeah.
naturally you assemble these elements and you put them together, and boom.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, like the photographer, like the eye and stuff like that. That's funny because I've been thinking about getting back into photography as well. It's been a while. I used to do wedding photography,
yeah,
in Portland and stuff, but it's just like the wedding photography is so hard because it's so much pressure. 'Cause you have to
yes.
be everywhere and not miss a single second.
And then you have to deal with the bride's mom.
And then you have to deal with when are the pictures coming? And you have 300 pictures that you are editing, and they're like, where are they? And you're like, well, I'm trying to give you the best kind of, like product here.
Right.
Don't stress me, please.
Yeah,
It's like,
I had a girlfriend briefly years ago, and she worked a wedding. She was
yeah,
helping plan a wedding, and I helped her out one day, and I looked around and I thought, this is too much pressure. This is
it,
this is someone's very special day
yeah.
with a 50% chance of divorce, by the way. But I've been married for 12 years, so I'm not complaining.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm married for life. But
Okay, good.
yeah, I saw all this and I thought, and then someone's got to take the pictures too. And then I just see the look of like the only people that really enjoy themselves are the guests. Like
Yes.
the bride, finally, when you get to say I do and she throws the bouquet, maybe she loosens up some. I don't know what's going through the groom's mind. And I know the parents are just sitting there going, this better not get fucked up, you know?
50% chance.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, this is supposed to be a happy day, okay,
Yeah.
people? Like,
People are stressed.
yeah, a lot of stress. But uh, to that point about how you get successful, especially in streaming, there are a lot of different factors. And of course, if you're a photographer, you also realize that if you're going to give somebody something to look at for 8 to 10 hours, you want it to have a certain aesthetic. Do you put a lot of work into that, or do you think, no, I've got it set and I don't want to mess with it?
I mean, I just like so I guess like I just do what I feel like looks good for me because like
Right.
if I like something I'll do it. Like my room, like I like it when it's very bright and
Yeah.
like kind of like aesthetically pleasing. Like
Hmm.
usually I'll have my Nendeleeves on, I have my monster fridge and like I have like more LED lights over here
Right.
and usually it's not as bright, but it's like 9 a.m. so and I have the sunrise, so it's very,
Yeah.
very bright right now.
Yeah.
And then like during nighttime, I can pull up my blinds and you can see the whole city. So like I like a certain way of how it looks because I like to feel like it's professional, and
Right.
when it's clean, it feels a lot more professional. And when my stream is running smooth, it feels professional, and all my gear and setup and stuff like that. And even like what I'm looking at looks professional. You guys can't even see this, but I have 3 monitors, I have my computer, I have like sound panels, I have all my lights, and like for me, that's professional. So like I want it to look good.
It puts you in a serious frame of mind.
Yeah, because this is my job, so I
Yeah.
spend my money on it to upgrade it so that I get a good quality for my viewers.
I haven't seen one of your streams at night. I think that's pretty cool to have the cityscape behind
Oh,
you.
it's great.
I mean, obviously, like if you see my background, you think, well, this guy's clearly either loves animation or is a voice actor
Hmm.
because there's like animation cells and there's a Pathfinder heirloom and
Yeah.
tchotchkes and things like that. Mine's a little more cluttered, a little busier. But I also, I do table reads on this Zoom, for shows and things like that. And as far as my stream goes, the aesthetic is, I can't believe Chris managed to pull off another stream because he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. aesthetic. I'm a walking dad joke, just like Pathfinder. So
Hey, that
yeah,
works too.
that's just me. That's who I am. But
Everyone has their niche, you know?
exactly. But I guess also I may as well address the elephant in the room too, because I know that I hear this a lot too. When people stream and people want to know, all right, why did they get so big? If it's a guy who streams a lot and he's great at the game, people think, oh, people respect his skills.
Mm-hmm.
But I know I've seen many women who have streamed and they become very big and they're also attractive. And I think, well, it can't just be for that because there are a lot of, say, girls who are attractive who stream. They also usually are great at whatever game they're playing.
Mm-hmm.
And do you ever get any any BS from people who think, oh, you're only popular because you're not unattractive, right? So is it because, oh well, it's only because you're this or you're that? Do they
Oh,
sometimes treat you a bit reductively?
oh, every day. As a
Okay.
female streamer, every day. And it's like Apex has a lot of good female players, like a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
Like majority of us are pretty good. Like we're all like master pred level,
Right.
and we grind every day. So like we definitely have the skill, but
Right.
it's like when you're a female streamer, they look at you at the first glance,
Yeah.
not your gameplay. Like
Right.
if someone clicks on my stream, it's like a high chance that they did because of my webcam, like because
Yeah.
of me and not my gameplay. And it's definitely a lot like, oh, you only made it because like when I signed to Liquid, I had this comment on my YouTube, and this guy was like, how does it feel to only be signed because you're a female
Mhm.
streamer? And they needed to fill out their roster. And I was
Yeah.
like, well, why would they need to, like, it makes no sense because like I was like, wait, why would they need to sign another man if they have so many men already on Liquid? Like it makes
Right.
complete sense
Right.
that they would look for more female streamers that are also talented at the game. Like I
Yeah.
was like, why would they not?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it was easier for me. It just means that they've already signed so many men, and they have had it easier because they are men, so they've gotten the chance a lot more.
Yeah.
So now it's my turn.
Right.
It happens a lot, especially like in a game that's very competitive, like Apex. And it's like I just play the game. I don't really do anything different than any other guy streamer. I play the game. I play ranked, I play comp, I do my thing, and that's all I want. Like I'm not asking for any other treatment. I just want to be a comp player in
Right.
Apex.
Plus, you can make the argument that okay, the looks may pull somebody in, but they're not going to stay if
No,
they don't see anything interesting happening.
no,
You're
they
not doing
they
an
never do.
ASMR stream here,
No,
you
they
know.
never do. Like in like my personality is pretty strong. So like if I see or hear something or read something I don't like, I call it out. I say it as it is, and like if you
Right.
don't like it, then that's how it is. But like I'm very like I in my channel, like I'm very proud of my community and the
Yeah.
people that are in it, and I get a lot of compliments on my community too because they're a very nice community and they're very
Hmm.
supporting and they're filled with all kind of people.
Right.
So like if you're not like I'm always like quality over quantity, like if you have that one bad seed, then I'm getting rid of it, then you're not supposed
Yes.
to be a part of my stream anyway. So
Right. I have noticed that too. I've built a community as well that a person's community tends to be a direct reflection of who they are.
yes, it really is.
It really, if you want to know what a streamer is, just look at their chat
Yeah.
and what they allow.
Yeah.
And a community is really good at being self-policing. And I mean, I have mods and they're wonderful, but a person who comes into my stream, first of all, if somebody comes into my stream to be toxic, they don't last. I spent 10 years as a road comic.
Yeah.
I just have no tolerance for hecklers.
Yeah.
None of that. And my
Yeah.
mods, as quickly as they can banhammer somebody, that person almost is better off getting banned before I get to them.
Yeah,
Because
see,
yeah,
my mods know that if I get a comment that is just stupid, like for example, the whole like, oh my God, you're just a female, that's why you made it. Like my mods know that they don't ban them straight away because I will have my way with them and I will I try to like do like content out of it more. So like I'll roast them and make a joke out of it, and it just kind of becomes content
Yeah, it
that
becomes a
way.
clip.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And then they'll ban, but they know that they'll kind of let me do whatever I want, and then they
right,
ban. So
right. Well, I have in my older age. I'm 53 now. So I in my older age I've gotten a bit more mellow, and so I won't necessarily immediately come after somebody. And again, we're talking about something that happens once every several months for me. That's
yeah.
I don't get a lot of that. But I do tend to try and give somebody a chance to walk back whatever it was they said. I'll even ask them, so why would you say that? You know,
Uh-huh.
a lot of people don't expect that.
Yeah.
I'll say, why would you say that? And then, come on, are you having a bad day? If you're having a bad day, tell me. And then maybe we can talk for a minute. And every now and then you can turn somebody around, but usually
Mm.
it's just a douchebag.
Yeah, usually it's just someone really bored, and I feel like if they're that bored, they're probably going around to a lot of streams
Yeah,
doing the
you're
same
just the
thing.
latest stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Some usually I'm just like calling them out. I always call them out though, and like sometimes it does like catch them off guard, and they'll be like, "Oh, am I supposed to explain myself here now?"
Yeah.
But it's always funny when you kind of like throw them like off their game
Hmm.
because you're just like kind of playing them and they're like because then they'll get very defensive and then they'll be like either they'll just go like crazy on you and like kind of like swearing, like actually try to offend you and you're like okay whatever and then you
Yeah.
just move on and they'll just be really mad about it.
Yeah, my hope is when I do that, my hope is not just to maybe make them rethink what they're doing, but also if you knock them off, maybe they've lost their appetite for being a troll that
True.
day. So, okay, I've
Yeah.
saved the next 5 or 6 streamers a headache.
Hmm.
And this is here, I've nipped it in the bud and we'll see. But
Yeah.
this is, I learned about this a couple of years back. I interviewed Brian and Amelia Rose. It's Descartes Games, and they have a wonderful community. It's a husband and wife that stream together, and they're both also actors and voice
Oh,
actors. And Brian said, "You have to remember, Chris, everyone on Twitch is 12."
yeah.
Okay, so sometimes you get somebody saying something, and you think you're talking to you. You're
Yeah.
not. You're
Yeah.
not. You're talking to somebody who has their first account, and they can't wait to wreak havoc.
Yeah. I always go like, what are you 12? And they're like, no, I'm actually 29. I was like, that's even more embarrassing.
That's I
I was
wouldn't
like,
admit to that.
dude, you're acting like a child. I was like, how does that make you feel? Because like if I was you, I'd be embarrassed right now. And they're like, I
Yeah,
don't know. And they're like, they don't even know what to say. And I'm like, uh-huh, yeah, there you go.
right, exactly. Well, that also brings to mind the fact that at 24, you have managed to do something that I think you must hear this a lot too, and you should. One of the reasons why I wanted to chat with you is because I admire the fact that at 24 you have done something not just as definitive as saying, okay, I'm going to get signed to a team. I'm going to get myself signed to a team. That won't be an accident. But I'm also going to move from my hometown
Yeah.
to another continent to one of the largest cities in the country, which has people moving to it every day, and just figure it out as I go. That takes a lot of self-confidence and ability to live with uncertainty. So I tip my cap to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I've never done anything like this before ever. 2021 was a really big change for me. Like in general, I did a lot of stuff out of my comfort zone.
Hmm.
A lot happened in my life that just like kind of like changed everything and made me just want to do something new. And I knew that like, cause I was like in Sweden. Sweden's great, like it's a beautiful place,
Hmm.
but it wasn't for me, and I felt kind of stuck because my stream couldn't grow because I wasn't in the US. I wasn't getting the same kind of like amount of sponsorship that I should have gotten because of legal reasons.
Hmm.
I wouldn't be able to sign to an org being in Sweden and stuff like that. So I was just kind of stuck, and I was just like how can I like take it forward? Like what can I do? And I was like the only real thing I can actually do is move, and I'm half American, so I have a dual citizenship. And I was like,
Ah, great.
yeah, so I was like, I'll just get the process started. I got my passport. I did all like the legal stuff, and then I went to San Diego in October. And by then, I had already started getting rid of stuff in my apartment because I was like, you know what? Might as well just sell stuff
Hmm.
to kind of like kick me off a little bit. Because in my head, I was like, how the hell do you move to another country? It's like, how do you do that? It's like, how am I supposed to do that? And I was like, it's not gonna happen. I was like, yeah. I had never done that before, so I was like, is it even possible? And at that point, I was talking to Liquid.
Hmm.
And then it was more finalized when I was in San Diego for TwitchCon.
Hmm.
And when I got home, I was like, okay, they want me in LA in October. So I booked a flight and I was like, I'm just gonna book it because then I have like a deadline.
Right.
And like it's kind of pushing me to do it. So I
Hmm.
booked my flight and I sold everything, gave everything away that I had in my, because I had like a small little house. So I gave everything away to my friend that was gonna move to her own apartment, and like I just like got rid of everything. I think I flew here with 3 suitcases, and my PC setup I shipped with UPS.
Hmm.
So I got rid of everything in 4 days. And I told my landlord, I was like, I gotta go. I was like, I'm out. And I didn't even have an apartment because I had issues getting one because I don't have credit. Being
Right.
from Sweden, we don't do that.
Yeah.
My
Wait.
cat just
Yeah. Hey, what's your cat's name?
whiskey.
Whiskey.
Yeah, this is whiskey.
That's a big cat.
Yeah, he's well, okay.
It's
He's
very
kind
fluffy.
of he's very fluffy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't have an apartment at that point, but Liquid helped me up and they put me up in their apartments in Santa Monica
Okay.
temporarily. So I got rid of everything. My parents helped me clean and just like get the my old apartment ready to
Hmm.
just get out of there. And I flew and I ended up in Santa Monica for 3 weeks. And then I found this apartment
Hmm.
and my friend helped me out. She co-signed with me because I
Hmm.
didn't have any credit, so she helped me out and I was able to land it. So it was a
That was
really
nice.
crazy, yeah, like I wouldn't have been able to do it without her. She's
Right.
amazing. Um, so it was a crazy year for me, but just like pushing myself because like ever since I lost my job due to COVID and I was able to stream
Hmm.
and having it work out, I just have this mentality that everything kind of happens for a reason and it has a way of working out.
Right.
So you kind of just have to trust the process and trust that it will work out as long as you want it enough. So like
Yeah.
now I don't really put too much pressure into things. I just kind of like I want stuff and I want to work hard for it, but I don't doubt myself that I can't do it. So I don't, it's just
This is
something.
this is an interesting topic too because I talk about things like this a lot on my stream. Like I'll do one day where I play Apex,
Yeah.
and then I do. I only stream 3 days a week, and it's like a total of 6 hours. It's practically a hobby,
Yeah.
but I will on Thursdays I do creative stuff with the stream, and then on Saturdays I do coffee and donuts where I just sit and I talk about whatever comes in my mind. It's like a radio chat, and I'll talk about mental health stuff a lot. My uncle was a psychologist, and years ago I did cognitive behavioral therapy to give myself a better skill set to just
Yeah.
manage life. And my wife, on the other hand, she has always just had an inherent confidence in herself.
Hmm.
She obviously, like you, she moved to another country. She taught herself the language. She would lie in job applications and say, "Oh yeah, no, I know how to do that," and then figure
Hmm.
it out after they hired her before they figured out she had lied to them.
She sounds
Because
like me.
yeah, by the time they realized, hey, she was bullshitting, she had already learned what they needed her to
Yeah.
do, and then she was too valuable an employee.
Yeah.
So this is somebody now for me. I have that kind of confidence in about two areas, and one of them is performing. It's like just yeah, give me the mic, give me the stage. It'll be fine. It'll be
Yeah.
fine. And if you put me in a room full of people and say you got to work this room, not a problem. But there are a lot of other things where I don't have the same confidence and I have to build it up slowly but surely by doing something over and over again.
Yeah.
And what I try to tell people is even if something scares you, if you do make it a manageable step by step process, you're going to do better than you think.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
For you,
when
it had to
I
be overwhelming, though, because that's a lot at once. It almost like you couldn't take
yeah.
it step by step.
I mean, I've never done anything more stressful in my entire life. It was definitely very crazy. But like when I decided to move to the US, I didn't have Liquid. Like I hadn't even like started talking to them. I had
Right.
already made up my mind that I was gonna, it was gonna work out.
Yeah.
So like it did work out. Like it all kind of like came into the right pieces, like with Liquid and everything, like that just happened. And I was like, okay, see, like it's starting to pan out to something more, and this is gonna give me that nice stability of like having Liquid when I get there and them helping me out and stuff like that. So like, I mean, it was very, very stressful, but I just kind of like felt like fuck, like I was like, if anyone can do it, it's me.
Right.
That's what I keep on telling myself.
So, have you always, even as a kid, did you always feel kind of a confidence in being able to handle unpredictable things? Or is this something you started to feel happening as you got more experience working?
That's definitely something I got more when I like with more experience. Definitely. Like I think like I grew up in this environment where I always had to do everything myself. Like I'm a very independent person. I don't really rely on a lot of people.
Okay.
I tend to like if something goes wrong, I'm the person to fix it. There's no one else around. Like I don't ask for help a lot, which is definitely something I have to work on. But I'm always like relying on myself for
Right.
everything that I do. So like and then like when I grew up and like I've had a lot of jobs and stuff like that. I just kind of like it just came with that of just like me getting older and knowing that if I need something done, it's me who has to do it. Like who else is gonna do it but me? So I think it's just like it came with age, but also like experience of like life.
Right. So, are you an only child?
No, I have an older sister.
Okay. So sometimes it happens that way. Sometimes, if you're an only child, you learn to do things on your own. But sometimes when you have siblings, one of the kids, for whatever
Mm.
reason, will become the more responsible one, and it's not always the
Yeah,
older one. Not to say that your older sibling is irresponsible.
it would be me.
Okay, gotcha. That dynamic takes shape for whatever reason, and
Yeah,
sometimes the parents don't even realize they're contributing to it, but they
yeah.
establish a dynamic where one kid does more, they end up covering for the other kid.
Hmm.
Everybody starts to play a role.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Now, are your parents in more conventional careers?
No, God, no. They're freelancers.
Okay. So you already
So
learned that dynamic.
yeah, exactly. My mom, they do kind of like whatever they feel like, but my mom is she's a graphic designer and an artist,
Uh-huh.
so very flowing that way. And then my dad's a photographer, a carpenter, and he's an artist too. And like they kind of do whatever, and it's a very artistic family, I guess.
Right.
So definitely not your typical 9 to 5 job at all.
And you can never tell how somebody chooses a career because my brother is a graphic designer.
See?
I've let's see, since I've been 23, I've been either a comedian or a voice actor.
Yeah,
And I had like waiter jobs until I was about 26. And then I said, that's it. It's only going to be show business or
yeah.
nothing. And yet I have two other brothers, both who work regular office jobs. Still stressful office jobs, but regular office jobs with guaranteed income and all that.
Hmm.
And we come from a fairly conventional family in that, I mean, I'm a child of divorce, but sadly, that's not a very abnormal thing, at least not in this country. But my mom worked office jobs and my dad office jobs. And
Yeah.
sometimes your destiny just lies on a different road and there's nothing you can do to stop that. It's just,
Yeah.
I'm going to take this path, and it's not necessarily the environment you came from.
No, my mom always told me like, because like I'm the only person in our family that's had a very conventional job, like a 9 to 5. Like I worked, as I worked in a grocery store, and I've been a waitress and
Hmm.
a barista and all that. And she always told me that like she was always so proud of me for like getting a stable job like that, and like just like doing that because like no one else in the family has ever done that. And just like, and I was like, well, I mean, it's just like the normal thing. I like to work. So like I got whatever job I could, like from a
Right.
young age. But for her, she's like, wow. I mean, she's very proud of me now for doing something that I love and like making it, my job, stuff like that. But it's funny because she was always like, "You're the first one in our family to
Yeah.
do something like that," and like, "Oh my God, I'm always so proud of you." And I
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah,
My wife did something like that. When they lived in Venezuela, her whole family's moved here. In fact, her Aunt Daisy, who is 80, just flew to Los Angeles this
oh
morning
wow,
from
oh
Madrid because Venezuela is in the toilet. And
yeah,
so everybody had to leave in different ways. And she had to live in Madrid for a couple of years. So talk about the stress of moving. She's doing it
yeah."
at 80.
Oh my God.
But I know the whole nother conversation.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but no, I think she's landing safely and all that. But my wife, when she was in her either late teens or early 20s, her family was, fairly well off and she got
Mm,
a regular job. And they looked at her like, why would you do that? She says, I want to. She got a job at a
yeah,
record store, a music store. We don't really have, where you see vinyl albums.
I know what a record store is.
Okay. Most people don't, but
Hi,
back then that
I'm
was the only
24.
way you could hear the music.
Yes.
So she worked at a record store and she said, I was so proud that I did that because no one in my family would do that.
Yeah.
They would look at me like, why would you do that? And she said, because I want to.
Yeah.
This is just, I want to push myself.
It's giving her more of a life experience as well. And
Right.
a lot of people will be like, oh, I get this a lot. Like any streamer will get this where people are like, "Oh my God, you'd never make it out in the real world. Oh my God, you're just a streamer." And I'm like,
What,
I have a lot of experience in
what,
the real world. I was like, "Do
yeah,
you think I've been a streamer for 24 years? Like I've only been doing this for like 3.5 years. What did you think I did before this?"
yeah.
Like my resume is pretty good. Like if streaming didn't work out, I'd just go back to one of my other experience like job that I had. It's
Well,
not.
yeah. Also, I try to keep an open mind. I try to engage in critical thinking. I try to look at something from another person's point of view. I try to look at something 360 degrees. And when I first saw streaming, I thought, well, this just seems like a fun thing to do, nice hobby. Oh, it might pay you a little bit. And then the more I saw people streaming 40 hours a week or more, I thought, wow, what's wrong with their other job or what's wrong with this or that? And then I finally realized this is the job. This is the real world. This is the marketplace.
Yeah, it's just 2023.
Yeah, it's
We're just moving forward, and
yeah,
this is where it's at right now. And people that don't understand that, they're just very narrow-sighted in that way, because like the opportunities that are online right now with YouTube and TikTok and Twitch, they're unlimited, and this is where the market is, and this is where companies want to be a part of. So
right,
I don't see why I wouldn't be a streamer if I
right.
can.
Well, yeah. Plus, my feeling is that a person doesn't have to like this kind of job. They don't have to like that as a career. There are a lot of careers they may not like, but you should accept and acknowledge that other people do,
Oh
and that it
yeah.
is a legitimate source of income, and it is a growing field.
Yeah, and some people are like, get a real job. And I was like, what is a real job? Because like this is paying my rent and more. Is that not a job then? Like
Yeah,
I'm paying my bills because I'm streaming. So what
right.
is a real job?
Yeah, this happens a lot with people who have unconventional jobs, and
Mm,
I've lived this. I've done this for longer than I've not done it, and a lot of times, especially in the beginning, I thought, "Wow, I can't believe I'm getting away with this. I can't believe that this is paying me. I can't believe this or that." And after a while, you just realize, no, this is what you do. It's
yeah.
not just a dream; it's a reality. And I'm lucky. I don't have to spend 8 to 10 hours a day. I'm very lucky. I know that. But that begs the question because I'm also very into health and fitness, and I know that
Mm.
like I actually bought a a standing desk. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Do
well,
you
I
use
got a
it?
standing desktop. So sometimes I
Mm,
will just raise it up and stand.
yeah.
And I think streamers might need to start looking into these because
Some of us do. Some
okay,
of us do, but I just like it's not gonna happen. Like I try to go to the gym a lot. Like I try to go like maybe 5 times a week,
that's
and stuff
good.
like that. Like, cause I'm used to like, cause when I used to work at Victoria's Secret, I used to walk every day. Like I was on my
Yeah,
feet for 9 hours a day.
in heels
Um,
probably.
Probably, yeah, in
Yeah,
heels. And that's what I was used to. And now I sit for 8 to 10 hours a day. So I'm trying to get in a workout. Well, at least five, maybe even 6 times a week. But I know a lot of streamers don't do this. So,
Right.
I don't know. Like so far, I haven't had any issues, but I know a lot of people have knee issues or back issues from just like sitting down as much. But
Yeah. Well, also you're young. When I
yeah,
was
I know.
24, I didn't even get hangovers practically. I mean,
Yeah.
you can burn it up, and then there's a certain point you hit. For me, it was my late 20s. I have a buddy who's 10 years older than me, and I recommend to everyone get a friend who's 10 years older than you because it's a time machine. They're going to tell you, "Oh, you're doing that. Let me tell you what's going to happen to you in 5 years." And he
Yeah.
once told me, he said, when you hit 27, 28, you realize a hangover doesn't just take an hour to get over, it takes half
The
the day.
holiday. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the same thing goes for your knees, your
Mm-hmm.
joints. The
The
same thing goes for
back.
all of that. And I spent 8 to 10 hours sometimes driving to a gig.
Yeah.
And you start to, a lot of times in your 20s, you don't think about any of these things because your body is almost indestructible. It's
Yeah.
amazing how quickly you recuperate. But if you start these good habits now, you won't have to do what I did, which is make a bigger pivot like in your 40s and think, all
Yeah.
right,
I'm
finally,
That's
gonna
what I'm
look after myself.
trying. Yeah, that's why I'm trying to go to the gym and stuff like that. Like, and just like I'm pretty good at it. I had a pretty good routine, but then I moved and I lost it. But I'm trying to pick it up
Right.
again. I got a new gym and everything. So I'm trying to kind of like prep myself and my body for when I'm older. Because I
Yeah.
know that like I might feel great now, but it's like it won't last forever. It's the same like if you don't brush your teeth now, they're gonna fall out later.
Yes. Yeah, for all you kids watching, brush your teeth and don't
Brush
just
your teeth.
brush, floss your teeth.
Floss as
Okay?
well.
You're
You're
talking to a
gonna
guy who's had every kind of dental procedure done,
mm,
and it's because I didn't brush enough when I was younger, and my teeth are perfectly healthy now, right? But don't learn the lesson the hard way, all
dental
right?
work is expensive.
Yes,
Mm,
yes. My son has braces, or he just got them off, right? So
yeah.
he's going to look like $1 million. And
See, in Sweden it's free.
see, and this is okay. This is also what I wanted to get into. I knew a girl who moved. She fell in love with a Swedish guy. She went. I remember she was younger than me, but she always just sort of was older than her years,
Yeah.
and always wanted to try new things. And she went off to Sweden on vacation, and
Mm,
kind of never came back.
yeah.
Just fell in love with a Swedish guy. I believe they're still married with kids. Fell in love with the Swedish way of life, and she was always unconventional herself.
Yeah.
But she told me back when I was still on Facebook years ago, which I don't get near Facebook now. But I asked her, I said, what is Sweden really like? Because people were having arguments here about our healthcare system,
Hmm.
about our pension and our work hours, all of that. And she said, for the most part, she loves it. She said, at least this was back around 2016, 2017, I think, 2015 even. She
Hmm.
said, people have a more relaxed way of life there. They do work, all right,
Yeah.
but you get more vacation time. Your healthcare is taken care of. There are
Yeah.
certain days where if you really want someone to come over and work on something, you might have a hard time finding them because they're on vacation. But for the
Hmm.
most part, you don't have to deal with certain things because
Yeah.
there's a much higher safety net than we have here.
Yeah, for sure. It's there's a lot more security, and I feel that living here in the US, for example, I have to get, health insurance and all that stuff, which I'm not used to because like that's also free in Sweden because we pay a lot of taxes. So like we pay for
Yeah,
it. It's a lot of taxes in Sweden,
right.
but we get free free healthcare
Yeah.
and dental work until we're 23.
Okay.
And then also like maternity leave for mom and dad
Mm-hmm.
at separate times, and a lot more vacation days, a lot more. And also most of our schools are also free,
Mm-hmm.
even universities and daycare and stuff like that because of the taxes that we pay. So I like Sweden a lot. It's I understand like why people get stuck there because it has a really nice security to it. Like you feel as a citizen, like you feel like you are like under care in that way. Like now living in the US, I can feel the difference because like I can also see the difference, especially living in LA and seeing the
Hmm.
people. Um, so I understand why people can get stuck there. I always say that it's a great country for like people with kids and stuff like that. Like my parents, my dad is from Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And he met my mom in Sweden, but they lived in the US for a while and they had
Hmm.
my sister here. And then they moved back to Sweden when they had me because of how much cheaper and better it is to have a kid
Hmm.
in Sweden. You get child support and all that stuff. And like as a teenager, me going to school, like I get I get like a salary or like from the school for attending school. Like
Really?
yeah, like
Wow.
they'll give me a little bit of money every month, for my pocket change for attending school. And
Right.
if you don't have a good attendance, they'll take away the money. Yeah, so it's kind of like, oh, okay, if I don't have enough hours, I won't get the money. I should go.
Yeah.
Um, so it's definitely a really good place for raising a family and having kids and stuff like that. It's just like you'll be taken care of a lot more. You get, the dental work, the braces and everything. Um, and the schools are pretty good too. Like the education system is pretty good.
Hmm.
Um, so it's more of a secure country in that way. They
Right.
definitely have their morals right, like and taking care of the
They seem
people.
to have a distinct, and a lot of countries have this, not just Sweden, but they seem to have a distinct, definitive national identity, a
Yeah.
cultural identity. We all believe in this, we all buy into this, and we're going to arrange our country and our culture sort of accordingly.
Yeah.
And here, ours has been shifting, and we're kind of a mess right now. I
Well,
mean,
America is also such a big country. So
yes,
many different states.
we are very heterogeneous. I mean, there are 50 states. The topography is wildly variable.
Yeah.
And you can go, like, someone who lives in Seattle, Washington is an American. Someone who lives in Miami, Florida is an American. And their lifestyles probably could not be more different.
Different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas in Sweden, there's more homogeneity. I mean, what, there are about 10 million people, I think?
I think so, yeah, something like that.
Okay.
8, 10.
You're currently surrounded by roughly 10 million people in the greater Los Angeles area.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some difference. But culturally, like for example, before the pandemic, we had our kids going to a Montessori style school,
Hmm.
which is an educational system that doesn't hit you with homework and it's not as rigid. It allows the child to learn something when they're developmentally ready to. We really like that. And
Hmm.
every other parent from, at the school was from another country. It was amazing to
Yeah.
me. They were from everywhere else. And we got to be friends with one couple. The mom was from Venezuela and the dad was from Switzerland, but they met in Switzerland and they had
Yeah.
lived there. And they were entrepreneurs and they love Switzerland, but they said if you're an entrepreneur and you think outside the box, you're going to want to leave Switzerland.
Hmm.
And I would think in Sweden that might be to a degree the same thing. That once you begin to think, I want to roll the dice more, I want to step outside of
Yes.
conventional living more, I think I need to go to America.
Yeah, that's why I moved because I felt like I'm being like, this is not a good it doesn't benefit me.
Right.
As a streamer and as a 24-year-old that doesn't have any kids or anything like that, this place doesn't benefit me the way that it does my parents, for example. Or someone else that has a more of like a 9 to 5 job
Right.
because they get more out of it. Like I paid a lot more taxes in Sweden. But I didn't get the same benefits
Right.
as like someone that had the 9 to 5 job would with like the free the off days, the vacation days and stuff like that, or childcare and all that. So for me, I was like, why would I stay when I could get more opportunities than in a state like California,
Yeah.
So for me, I just like it just didn't make sense to stay.
Right, exactly. And it depends on where you are in your life, too. Like,
Hmm.
obviously, what I did with my life, similar to my wife. My wife told me, even as a little girl in Venezuela, she knew she wanted to live in America.
Yeah.
And she is, we're both pretty liberal. She's even more liberal than me. She can find all kinds of fault with this country, but she still thinks if you are a big time dreamer, this is where you come.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is where things have possibility.
No, I agree. It's just like the way that it's built and like how like obviously like it has its ups and downs and pros and cons and
Right.
with a lot of stuff, but like it's just like for some reason it just gives you a little bit more opportunities and all that. So like
Yeah.
that's why I'm here.
Yeah. We love
Yeah.
our capitalism here.
Oh yeah.
I kind of wish we would go a little bit more towards, hey, why don't we raise that safety net a little bit more though? Because we've got like here you are living in a city, especially a certain part of it, where you're going to see incredible wealth and incredible poverty on the same block.
Oh yeah. Without a doubt. Like LA is interesting in that way because you really just have like black and white. It's just like I haven't had an issue with living in downtown LA right now, but I know a lot of people don't like it for that reason.
It's changed over the years, even since I've been here. First of all, for a while, a lot of money started coming back into it and building it back up. And then when the pandemic hit, and even before then, we were kind of exposed the fact that we just don't do very well taking care of people that are homeless.
Exactly.
And hopefully that changes. But culturally speaking, there've got to be a few things you notice that are different here than anywhere, not just Stockholm, but we're definitely a gym culture here in LA. People get dressed up to go to the gym.
Hey, I was looking for a new gym and I went into LA Fitness and the amount of guys that had jeans on at the gym.
Wait a minute, they were working out in jeans?
They were working out in jeans. They were on the treadmill and I was like, I was looking at him and I was like, and they were like middle-aged men. And I was like, what's going on here? I was like, why are you in jeans? And that kind of like threw me off a little bit. I ended up going to another gym. I was like, there's no way. It's like, what's going on?
I don't, I gotta say, well, I haven't belonged to a gym in 20 years. I've been working out at home. It's either been body weight exercises or I bought a tonal. Actually, if you're looking to, I don't know if you know what the tonal is.
No.
All right, you should look it up. TONAL. If you're looking to make sure that you always hit the gym, buy a tonal. Just put it in your apartment. Or if you buy yourself like if you're looking into buying a place, then buy a tonal. Because I can do everything on the tonal that I could do at a gym that is worthwhile to me. Okay. And I do like little videos on it that I'll put out later. But it's a way for me to sidestep all the BS. But then again, in my 20s, I liked being around as many people as I could be around. I always loved to be around other people. Now I don't care so much. I just want to get my workout in.
Yeah.
LA, the gyms are like nightclubs.
They're so full. I'm trying to go during like morning time now, like around like 8, 9 a.m. because like it's not as full as it is like late, like evening.
Right.
So I'm trying.
Now, you probably don't have much time for a social life because you're streaming 6 days a week. But when you do get a social life, how are you finding it compared to, I mean, I guess, I don't know if you're single now. You said you have an ex, but...
Yeah, no, I'm single.
Okay, yeah, you're out in the scene. And to be single in LA is, again, it's like being in front of an enormous buffet.
Yeah. I mean, I see, I'm not really used to dating either because my last relationship ended a year ago and it was 6 years long. So, yeah.
You started when you were in high school then?
So when I was 17.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so like I'm not really used to the dating scene either, I'd say. It's like for me, I'm not really the person to be like, oh, I want to date. I'm kind of just like, if something comes along, okay, that's great, and like maybe we'll try it out and go on a date, but like it's not like I'm looking for it. Like you'll never see me on Tinder or like any app or anything like that. It's just like not my speed. But there's a lot of people in LA, but I think I'm one of these people that kind of like to know a person before.
Right.
And I think this is also like an American culture here where people will see someone and then like be like, can I ask you on a date without even knowing each other? Where in Sweden we don't do that.
Really?
We don't ask strangers if we can get your phone number and go on a date. It's
really?
not It's not common. Yes, that's an American thing, and I'm like not used to that. So if a
How,
stranger comes up to me and be like, "Can I have your phone number? Do you want to go on a date?" I'll be like, "No, who are you?" And I'll be like, "No." And
okay.
they're like, "Well, we have to get to know each other." I was like, "I don't want to know." I was like,
I-
God. So like for me, like I'd rather like maybe like go on a date with someone that I've already met before, or like in the
okay.
same friend
Okay.
group or something like that, you know?
That is so interesting because yeah, I've never lived in another country and I've only
Yeah,
briefly traveled. Like for our honeymoon, we went to Madrid, Barcelona, Paris, and London,
yeah,
and we did it all in a very short period of time, like Americans do.
yeah.
Hey, we saw 5 cities in 6 days. Like, well, you didn't really
Mm,
see anything, did you? Yeah. So I've I'm fascinated by that. I'm fascinated by couples, relationships, all of that. I love that stuff. And when somebody tells me they're from a culture where you don't just start chatting up a stranger and ask for their phone number, I think, well,
yeah.
then how does anybody ever meet anybody? Is it just
Work,
through friends?
friends, yeah, work, friends, stuff like that,
Wow.
honestly. Yeah, or just like interactions like that happen, but like it's not really a common thing. Like majority of my friends that have a relationship they met through like work or friends and stuff like
Gotcha.
that, or growing up in the same place and stuff, I guess. So it's
Gotcha.
like,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
funny. The way I met my wife, she was at the Getty Museum, which, by the way, if you've not been to, I
I've
highly recommend.
been actually, I've
It's
been,
gorgeous. It's
yeah.
gorgeous. LA, for all its little problems and hiccups, is a truly beautiful city with a
Hmm.
lot of really interesting culture. But I met her because we were at sort of a function where you could just go and listen to music and have a little wine, and it
Yeah.
was like on the weekends. And I saw her across the courtyard, and she was speaking with 3 other people. And I could tell from her body language that she wasn't with any of them. And I said, I've got to meet her. And so I grabbed my friend who was with me and I said, all right, here's what we're going to do. I formulated an entire plan in my head so that we could walk by and start talking. And my friend was going to talk to her because she had her camera. She was into photography.
Ah,
My friend had a camera. He was actually my brother's friend. And I said,
ah,
okay, you guys are going to start talking. And thank God he was into the plan. He was going to be my wingman. And I'll just start talking to
uh-huh.
her friends and then I'll just worm my way into your conversation.
See, that's risky because what if she started liking your friend?
Then it's not to be.
True.
Right?
True.
You know, you
Yeah.
gotta, as the saying goes, if you love somebody, set them free.
Mm.
Right? If somebody's not into me, then why should I be into them? Why should
Yeah,
I
yeah,
try to
yeah,
convince them? No, I'm worth it. It's like if you can't see it,
yeah.
then okay, we're not a good fit.
Yeah.
So yeah, let her talk and let them chat, and then I just sort of started talking to her and getting to know her. But I had a whole plan. And then I asked for her number. She gave it to me. And she told me later, she said, first of all, I like redheads. So I got lucky there. That she said, you were always the kind of boy that I like. And you're a nice boy. And I've always liked nice boys. I do not like men I don't think I could trust.
Yeah.
And on top of that, because trust is a huge deal with her.
Yeah.
And she said, on top of that, you learned what I liked. And that's what we did on our date.
Mm.
You learned that I like to dance. And I said, you're a Latina. I knew you liked to dance. You didn't even have to tell me that. But so for our first date, we went to a dance lesson, which she didn't need, but I did. Then we went to like 2 or 3 different places and we got to know each other, like you say. But I had to walk up to her and talk to her because she also said, I'm very traditional in that I have never approached a man in my life.
Yeah.
And even if I had seen you, and said, "Oh, he's exactly my type," I wouldn't have talked to you. I
Same.
I would have said, "No, you have to come. You have to show interest in me." So you're the same way. So if you see a guy who is like your perfect guy, you're not at least going
Yeah.
to put yourself like in position alpha for him to notice you.
Well, it depends on the situation, I guess, but I'm also Swedish and we are very antisocial in that way. So like
That
that
see,
might be it. That might be it. But
I'm. This is so
I
funny that as a culture, you guys are like, "Nope, sorry.
yep. They're very
Third or fourth time I
antisocial.
see you, then we can talk."
If we're at a club or a bar, definitely. But if you see someone like a at a like a, it's just like more normal scene or just like more like laid back scene? No.
No?
No, not really.
Wow. Okay. Guys, guys watching, the Asta Bush game plan is you better go slow. You better take your time. You better
Uh,
be you better just pump the brakes, right? Got to get to know her. And you better like Apex.
yes, that is important. That
Yeah,
is
are there
important.
deal breakers for you? Like with some, obviously, you know what it's like to be in a long relationship. So you know what the deal breakers are. You know what you can live with, what you can't
Yeah.
live with.
I definitely a deal breaker is probably if someone doesn't like have a goal in their life. Like
No
if someone
ambition.
doesn't, yeah, like if someone doesn't actually know what they want to do or like actually like something that they feel like they really want to put their time and effort in, then that's probably a deal breaker because I put a lot of time into my streaming
Right.
and what I do. So if we can't like have that in common to kind of like I guess pass our time because like
Right.
if I'm working hard and he's not and he's like wanting to socialize and stuff like that and feel like I have to pull away from my work, that's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
For sure. What else? Oh, they definitely have to be funny. If they're not
Okay.
funny, then
Gotta have that sense of humor.
yeah,
People,
gotta have
I
to
I
say,
think guys don't realize this, that you don't have to be the best looking guy in the world. You have to care about your appearance, obviously,
hmm.
and take care of yourself,
Oh,
right?
yes, hygiene is also very important for
Yes,
sure.
obviously, yeah. So
Hmm.
look after yourself. Try to stay fit. Again, you don't have to look like a fitness model or anything. But yeah, have a goal, have some ambition, have a direction in your life. And yeah, a sense of humor is like important for anybody because life is hard. You need to be able to
Hmm.
see the funny in things, and
Yeah.
and especially if you're working 8 to 10 hours on your stream, and when you're done with your stream, I would imagine you probably have sort of a decompressed time you need. And for
Bye.
for just somebody to have a good sense of humor to help you just kind of relax,
Hmm.
that's a
Yeah.
big deal.
Yeah. I mean, just like someone you can relate to, but just like not feel like it's forced. I'm a very big personality person. So like if you have a good personality and someone I can relate to and we like have a lot in common, then like I don't give a shit what you look like. Like it's like because like you can be the hottest person ever, but if you have a shitty personality, I'm so far gone. It's just like I don't even know. It's like the worst people are always like the cocky and like the ones that just like would really you automatically become ugly if your personality is ugly, you
Right.
know? It's just like it's like yeah,
You
you
have
need
moved to a very interesting city for you.
oh yeah,
And
people
you
people
have
tell
already
me.
encountered this. You have probably met some very handsome and even pretty men. And some of them have probably immediately shown who they really are. Just,
Actually,
yeah,
I've been pretty lucky with like the people I've met, and I think it's
that's
because
good.
I'm keeping in the gaming industry,
Okay,
kinda. Like all the people that I've like kind of met and like actually talked to, they've been really nice.
that's
No
good.
one's been cocky, no one's been like hot-headed, and no one's been like very egotistic at all. Like everyone, and like I've met really cool people here, and a lot of like very um talented people and like they've made it and they've been doing great stuff, but
Hmm.
they've all been very down to earth. Like I've met the biggest streamers here, but no one has really been bad at all, honestly.
That's
And a
good.
lot,
That's good to hear.
yeah,
Yeah, see, I
yeah,
moved here for show business, and so I ended up in a lot of show business enclaves.
yeah.
And I had a roommate at the time, a good friend of mine, who had just been on a soap opera. And like an idiot, I was still in my 20s. I just went to I would go to all the parties he would get us into.
Yeah.
And I formed this opinion in my mind that exactly confirmed what I had grown up thinking about
Mm,
LA. It's full of beautiful people, and if you're not beautiful like them, they don't have time for you.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you're not on their wavelength, that's it. And
Yeah.
slowly but surely, you can unearth this entire other culture of people who are, a lot of them are artists. They're quirky. They're different.
Mm.
They embrace that in other people, and there are a lot of very down to earth people. So I don't know enough about downtown, but it was a scene for a while. It might still be. Who knows? I
Uh,
don't know where any of the clubs are. I mean, I'm this domesticated cat.
Honestly, I've been to one club since I've been here, and
Oh,
that's just
okay.
to see like I haven't really like the people that I've hung out with, like it's either been like just dinners or more house parties, I think. I feel like
Right.
that's like a thing that just like gamers tend to stick to, and then it's like usually the same kind of people that are at the parties, and like it's usually like a good vibe. So
That's cool.
I don't think I put myself in that like scenario where I'm out clubbing and meeting these random people that are here in LA just to think about themselves and just like they don't really care. They just want to make it, and like the whole niche and like or the clicks and stuff like that. So I
Right.
think like if you kind of like choose the people you hang out with in LA, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Just like with anywhere, you rise or
Yeah.
sink to the level of the company that you keep.
Yeah, exactly.
Important. Now, when you're putting in the hours streaming, what's your day off?
It depends. I'll take a day off if I need to, if I have something going on, but
Uh-huh.
I try to do it on like the weekend so that I can hang out with non-streamer friends that are usually off on the weekends and stuff like
Right.
that. But usually nowadays I've just been taking a day out, the day off when I needed it. Like I put it out on my schedule and be like, okay, let's say I have a hair appointment on Sunday. I'll take the whole day off then, and I'll get like anything done that I need to, like cleaning or meal prepping or going to the gym or just anything that I need. I'll do on the same day, so I don't have to take multiple days off.
Meal prepping. That's what I've got to get more into
Yeah,
because I'm sitting here making these delicious meals and they're healthy and I'm thinking, but this is taking time away and
yeah.
I've got other stuff to do. And I used to be into meal prepping and I think I've got to get back into it.
But you're cooking for a whole family. I'm only
Well,
cooking for
yes and
one.
no. Yeah, you're just cooking
Yeah.
for you. I
So
mean,
I
my
make a lot. I make extra and I'll just split it up into lunch boxes and I'll have it through the week because I make for like at least three people. So I
really.
always think that yeah, I was like if I make dinner, I'm like, okay, I'll just make for three people and
Right.
I'll have leftovers. So
Right. Yeah, smart. Now, do you have a certain nutrition you like to follow or is it just whatever you're hungry for?
no, whatever I want.
Ah,
Yeah.
24. Enjoy it.
Hey, I eat pretty clean, I'd say. Like I like to cook my food a lot.
Well, yeah, you're
So
fit. I mean, it's not
yeah, I
like you're
mean
just choking down Twinkies all the time or
oh
anything.
no, I'm Swedish. We don't even have Twinkies in Sweden.
You must have junk food in Sweden, though.
Oh yeah, for
Of
sure,
course.
but not in the same kind of level. Like not like that. Like it's different. It's a different kind of sugar here.
We are so decadent here. The
Mm,
the amount of stuff and junk that is
yeah.
readily available is staggering.
And Uber Eats right to my door. I'm like, shh,
We are a convenience culture for sure. And
very
I
dangerous.
do. I don't know if you get this a lot on your stream, but I'm very open. I like people to open up and talk about
Yeah.
whatever they're comfortable with. But I do get a lot of people that will tell me that they're dealing with anxiety, they're dealing with things like that. And I'll say,
Mm,
you're spending a lot of time in front of that screen. And it would really help, as they say, if you touch grass a little bit more, if you
mm-hmm.
try to get yourself outside in a way that you can handle one step at a time, because I know most of them tend to live in the US and we have a convenience culture here.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone this system we have makes it easy for you to not get out of that chair. Now
Yeah.
you're working in your chair. You're
Yeah.
doing a lot of things. A lot of people aren't necessarily doing that. They are staying away from things that scare them.
Yeah.
And I try to encourage them to push themselves a little bit. And I would, like I said, I haven't had a chance to catch much of your streams, but I would think you would be a great advocate for somebody doing that because look at what you've already done with your life.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone ever come to you for advice like that?
Oh yeah, all the time, but I don't feel fit giving it. Because like I guess like it's easier for other people outside of like the picture to be like, oh my gosh, she's doing this and that's great. But for me being in it, I don't see it in the same way.
Right.
And like it's so easy to compare your own life with other people and seeing what they are doing and how like they're achieving stuff. And thinking, oh my God, they're doing all of this. Why am I not doing that? And like you compare where you're at and where they are at. But people, I try and kind of like give them advice and see like how far I've come. Cause like I gotta give myself some credit, I guess, cause I did do this. I'm here. Um, But whenever people do ask me, I'm always like, oh, people want my advice. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well,
I'll
you're
try.
visible, and to them, you're
Yeah,
successful. I mean, to me, you're
yeah.
successful, but success is relative, and you are
Hmm.
right in that your life is not someone else's life. They may be dealing with things that you're not dealing with. They may have a mental health issue that you don't have to deal with. Your head's screwed on pretty straight. I can tell just from talking to you for an hour and a half. You're pretty clear about what you want. You seem to know yourself fairly well, and a lot of people don't have that benefit. They have to work on it a bit more. But
Yeah,
and it's true, if you compare yourself to other people in an unhealthy way, you're just guaranteeing that you're going to feel bad.
yeah.
So it is important, but I do think it's nice for you to at least acknowledge for other people that you did this while feeling uncomfortable about it, but you trusted that
Oh
things
yeah,
would work
no.
out.
I'm very open with my stream.
That's
Like
good.
very, very I'm an open book. Like I talk about everything and all. And I like to get people's opinions and I like to like just be like, what do you guys think about this? Like if I have a big decision in my life, I like to just get people's opinions about it because like you will if you ask people, they'll give you another view of the situation and it might make you think completely different. Like it
Right.
might make you think like, oh, I didn't even think about that. That's true. So I always try to, have like a conversation with my friends or something like that. I have this Discord group and I call it the small council where we just kind of like discuss stuff.
Right. So
It's
is it
like
a small Discord, like a tight group?
it's just like three of my friends and
Okay.
it's like a Game of Thrones council. Like we all
Gotcha.
just kind of like talk about stuff and like kind of like try and like, okay, but what about this and that and stuff like that. So it's kind of funny, but on stream, like if someone asks me, I'm always gonna try and give them my best advice and stuff like that. And I always tell them how I feel and
Right.
for example, moving here, how I felt doing it and how hard and like they saw the whole process. Like they saw me on my last day in Sweden, like they saw me get rid of stuff in my apartment and pack and I also vlog and I post a lot of like on social media in general. So like they got to
Hmm.
follow my whole journey. So like if they have any questions, like I always answer it and I try to help them out. And I always just try to tell people that like as I told you, I've learned that everything kind of happens for a reason. And just like learning to take everything with like a little bit of a grain of salt and like just everything has a process. But if you want it enough, you can push through it, and so I am very open with my community because I care about them a lot and we're pretty tight. Like I wouldn't say that we're small, but for being the size that we are, we're still pretty tight.
Yeah.
And I do communicate with them a lot on Discord and Instagram and stuff like that. So I keep up in their life too. So like I want to be very open with them.
I found that happen with me too. Like I after years of performing in front of audiences, I was used to making a live connection with people.
Yeah.
A real-time connection with an audience. I say something, you laugh, you don't laugh at this. I try and change course a bit, but it's very fluid. And when I started streaming, as I saw some people returning, it's like, oh, you're back to watch this again? That's
Mm.
weird. And then I realized that no, they have lives, you have a life,
Yeah.
and then you start making connections. And now I've found that the streams that I enjoy the most are the ones where the chat is active. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter to me how few people are watching because mine's very small. If the chat is active and people aren't just talking to me, but they're talking to each
Hmm.
other, I feel like,
Yeah.
that's what I wanted. I want to know that we're a
Yeah.
community, even if it's virtual. They're still exchanging ideas and opinions, and they're
Oh
making their
yeah.
own connections.
My community is my family. Like it's a family and the cool part is that I have so many people in my community that's been there for a while now and they know each other now. Like they are now friends from meeting in my stream and creating this connection and becoming friends that actually been meeting in real life
Hmm.
and becoming best friends and becoming super close. Which is a really cool part because like my stream connected so many people and so now they're in my stream and they're watching me together. They're in my chat and they're like, oh, hi. Like they're saying hi to each other. Like they expect to see each other in my chat every day.
Right.
It's like a little meeting room. So like
Yeah.
they always talk to each other. They have a conversation with me. I'm usually part of it, and like, because I read my chat and I read everything. I answer everything.
Hmm.
So like, it's just really cool to see that you built this little community, and now they're actually friends and
Yeah.
they're part of each other's lives.
And that's what my mods taught me about Discord, because I didn't know anything about
Mm.
Discord. And they said Discord
Yeah,
is not just where we talk to you and tell you how to fix a glitch on your stream, because
yeah,
that's usually what they do. But Discord is where you can create all these channels where they can share art, they can have
mm,
different topics of conversation. We can all get together after the stream or in off hours, and we can continue to stay connected.
yeah,
And this is where
exactly.
I thought a community really gets built.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
my Discord is very I even do I call them Discord streams. So
mhm.
after I stream, sometimes I'll do a Discord stream, and obviously it's a less like it's less viewers, but it doesn't matter because it's just Discord stream.
Right.
And we'll play a game that's just super chill and let you just talk.
Hmm.
It's a lot more personal.
It sounds to me like you are a very loyal person. Like when you
Yeah.
have friends or when you're with, like if you're in your relationship, that's it. That's my
Oh yeah.
life. There's no distance between us. So
I'm a Taurus, very, very, very loyal. That's my sign. We're very loyal. So yeah, no, I take pride in that.
nothing wrong with that. That's the thing I learned about my wife. I remember when you when you mentioned I talked about meeting her and you said, "Well, what if she liked your friend?" I'd say, "Well, then that's
Yeah.
the way it is."
Yeah.
The thing about my wife, I could surround her with handsome, glamorous millionaires all trying to talk to her, and I would have zero care about whether or not she would entertain the idea
Hmm.
of choosing any of them over me. Now, before she met me, that's different. I had to prove myself.
Yeah.
But the thing that she is all about, and the thing that we value in each other, is that we're open and honest with each other. But also, she will. We're this way with each other. She and I will never ever take someone else's side over each other's.
Yeah.
And even if we disagree, it's like no, we're a team. We're partners, and
Yeah.
so we will always have each other's back no matter what. And if there's an issue, we'll work it out privately, right?
Sounds like
But
a really healthy relationship. Good for
I,
you.
yeah,
Good
well,
for you.
you're looking at. Let's put it this way: when I was your age, I was nowhere near this. There was a
Mm.
lot of growth that had to happen, and I was the opposite of a lot of what I talk about. But that's also what I try to impart to the community because most of the people in my community are younger than me. I think they all are. And
Yeah.
and so I just say, look, I've been where you've been. And when I see people making a good connection, I try to encourage that.
Yeah, which
So
is
I
great.
that I and I think your community is probably a fairly large one. I mean, how many people would you say you get on an average stream?
Um, an average viewer count?
Yeah, average viewer count ballpark.
Around like 500, something like that.
That's great. That's great. I mean, that's a very robust chat too. If this is an active community, that chat's got to be flying by. I don't know how
Yeah.
you notice, most of it.
You get used to it. I have a pretty big screen next to me, and I tend to, I know the new people, I know the old people, but it also depends on what game you're playing. Because like if you're playing a story-based game, the chat will be a little bit more calmer,
Gotcha.
rather than if you play like a game like Apex. Apex is a fast chat game because people are reacting to your gameplay and you're talking to them and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
um,
Except with you, they're probably saying, "Hey, you got another win." With me, they're saying, "Oh, Chris is knocked again."
oh no, they do the same with me. They're like, "Dang, have you not won a game yet?" And I'm like, "Wow, really?" I'm like, "I've been playing so many games today. I've had wins too. Just happen to see the loss." Okay, calm down. Give me a moment. It's like you just came, like you just entered the stream. Oh my.
There
I
must be
put.
at least some in jokes you have with regular viewers where
Oh
okay, that's
yeah.
so and so, that's usually what they say. But then you get somebody who's more of a tourist and you have to educate them. All right, look, this is what we do here.
Oh yeah. I mean, you have the regulars, and they know you, and they know your
Right.
stream and your gameplay. And like, there'll be like a lot of people that are just new, and they'll be like, "Oh wait, you're better than I thought." And I was like, "Well, you just it's your first time here." And I was like, "You gotta watch,
Yeah.
and like you gotta give it a minute."
Not everybody gets a dub every single time.
Not every single game. And I play so many games a day too. Like so many. Like imagine how many games I play in 8 to 10 hours.
I
A lot of games.
I could
Can't.
probably I would probably play more than you in 1 hour, but that's because Squad Eliminated appears usually very quickly. It's like, oh, look, we're dropping again.
Hot dropping and dying, hot dropping and dying.
Hot drop, die. For me, every drop's a hot drop. Wait, there's another person nearby. How far away? 100 yards. We'll be dead in 30 seconds. And that's usually what I get is, you're in the game, man. Why do you suck at it? It's like,
Oh my god.
I have kids, all right? I don't have time to get good. I don't have time.
Okay.
I have time to
Yeah.
get in and appreciate it. That's what I have time for.
That must be rough though, having people like, you're literally a character. You should be good at the game. You're like, no, that's not how it works.
That's usually when I say, piss off, Scablander. And I used to get in and do the Pathfinder voice with randos.
Yeah.
And just to see if I could get them to just, dude, shut up.
Oh
That's
my
a
God.
terrible Pathfinder impression.
Has anyone said that?
I once or twice. I
Really?
haven't done this in like 3 years, but once or twice you're like, you got that gamer who's they're just there for the win.
Yeah.
And they don't want to hear you, and I guess they hadn't figured out how to mute you yet. I
Yeah.
think I'll start on the drop and people are like, mute. They don't even wait to see if I'm actually...
The real deal or not? Yeah.
Yeah, the one video I have on my YouTube that went viral was when I played with two people that didn't know who I was, and they slowly over the course of the match figured out that I was Pathfinder.
Yeah.
And one of them just freaked the fuck
Freaked
out.
out.
and he made the entire video. He called his friend, and
Oh my God.
it was funny because it was all on
Aw.
stream. Yeah. So
I love that.
yeah, but it was fun. It wasn't. I wasn't making fun of them. I was just having a good time.
Yeah, of
And,
course.
yeah, but I basically what I hear is, what's it like when you die to a Pathfinder?
Oh.
And I always say the same thing. I fucking hate it because then I have to hear my own lines taunting myself. It's like, I don't need to hear that.
Imagine if there was like proxy chat and you could actually just like talk to them back after killing you and do the actual Pathfinder lines.
I told the devs, I
be
said,
funny.
can you make it so that when I die, I get to continue talking to the person that killed me as Pathfinder?
Mm-hmm.
Just like I'm haunting them. Why'd you do
That'd
that,
be
friend?
Why'd
I
you
don't-
kill me?
I only wanted a high five. Now I'm dead. I hope you're happy. You've made Pathfinder cry.
Imagine. Oh my god, dude. I don't know. I'd love that, but
I did that to a Wraith once. I think she tried to report me because she had a Wraith skin that was like particularly emo even for Wraith. And I started taunting her a little bit as Pathfinder. It's like, wow, you left the house wearing that kind of thing? And I think that was the final straw. She's like, "Fucking report." So
your teammate?
yeah,
Oh my god.
I know. It wasn't. That was 2019. It was a simpler time, Asta.
It truly was. It truly was.
Yeah, but then I realized, it's like, you know what? This game can be toxic enough. I should be nice next time. So,
Hey,
yeah, don't comment on Wraith's skin.
that's not even a little bit toxic if you compare to a lot
No,
of stuff.
I know. I did one time. This only happened one time. I didn't even let these guys onto the stream. They were talking to me, and they were saying the most vile, insensitive, personally insulting stuff. And I thought, well, I'm not going to mute them. I don't want them, I can take it. But
Yeah.
I was sitting here thinking, though, it's like, guys, for you two, and they were both saying it. I didn't let them on the stream because they said, oh, if you let us on the stream, we'll say stuff that'll get you banned. We know what to say. And I thought,
Jeez,
so this
the
is
hell?
their life, right? This is what they like
Yeah.
to do. And that was a brief education. This was about 3 years ago. But this is a very brief education in the darker side of some of these games, the aggression
Yeah.
that you get. Like, I'm gently trolling, having fun. But then there are people who are really trying to make you, like, angry or doubt yourself. There's some pretty rough characters out there. I don't think there are that many, but they become memorable.
Oh, I've had a lot of stuff. Like when I play with randoms, I try to communicate, and like I had this one guy not long ago, and I said something because he was like, "Stop pushing," and I was like, "Why would I stop pushing?" And he was typing it, and then he goes, "Are you a girl?" It's like, yeah. And then he just starts pouring out slurs and like the worst words and insulting me for being a female and like just like the worst, just simply from hearing my voice.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't know her. And he didn't even play the game. He just kind of like literally just sat and insulted me the whole time. And I was like, and and then and I told him, and he was like going like he's like trying to insult me personally. He's like, he goes, I bet you're fat. I bet you're ugly. And I was like, okay, come on stream. I was like, I invited him on stream. I was like, come talk to me on stream, and like you can actually see me. I was
Yeah.
like, you're live right now.
Yeah.
And he came into my stream afterwards and he just kept on going. And I was like, are you okay? I was like, are you okay? I was like,
Yeah.
what's going on for you to like feel the need to simply insult me
Right.
for being a female? And he just like had nothing to say. Like, it was just the same shit over and over again. And it's just like, he just, for no reason, I was like, are you like truly like, like people like that, they must not be okay. Like there must be something. And I told him, I was like, I have you on video. I was like, I'm sending this in to my friend that will ban you.
Yeah.
And like he was just like, he's like, and then he disappeared and I banned him. And I was like, it's like, how are you mentally if you feel the need to just literally bash on people out of nowhere for absolutely nothing?
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm not even mad. I just feel bad for you.
Yeah. And there's always something going on for somebody to lash out like that. And by the way, what if I was fat and ugly?
Yeah,
what
exactly.
if I was? Like,
exactly.
So
I never told him how I looked. I never told him anything.
Exactly.
I just said like I was like, I invited him on stream and I was like, hey, you're live right now. I told him you're live right now and we're all listening to your shit. Yeah. And I have it all recorded and you're just gonna get banned, and this is your own fault and you're like, this is just you being a shitty person and you're gonna get the consequences of it. And he's like,
I think, I mean, you're always going to have that. You're always going to have, I mean, just the bell curve of personalities in society. You're always going to have people who are at that place in their lives. But we do have, it's called the Overton window. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's this spectrum of behavior that a society deems acceptable. So the Overton window moves a bit throughout the years. There are certain things we find acceptable. There are certain things we don't. Like it's no longer acceptable to say and do certain things at other people's expense. We don't tolerate that. So the Overton window has moved a little bit. Your cat's licking itself right there in the back. Oh, I'm talking about this heavy duty. Oh, here's the Overton window, and your cat's licking itself.
He's looking at me like, what? What?
I'm a cat. What, am I not going to lick myself?
Move out of the frame at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez. Why are you in frame in that? Yeah, no, but it's I understand what you mean, like with the
I think as we work on it, as you're committed to being a streamer, you're committed to being a personality in this landscape, and I'm committed in my own little way. Yeah. As we build an Overton window that says, look, this kind of stuff we're not going to tolerate. If enough people do it, I think we'll see less of that. We won't ever get rid of it. But we'll certainly we'll change what we're allowed, we'll change what we will put up with.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, he's trying to insult me by my looks and stuff, and he doesn't know what I look like, but I don't care. Like, I don't give a shit. I was like, okay, yeah, you're insulting me, but like, does it matter? No.
Right.
I don't care. Like, I could be the ugliest person ever. I don't care. Like, why would I care about you thinking that I'm ugly? It doesn't matter to me.
It wouldn't mean that suddenly that's a free pass based on my looks or my fitness level that, oh, well, now you get to tee off on me because
it doesn't matter. Like, oh my, like, dude, like the fact that that's like the way that he tries to insult someone is just like trying to bash out on like the norms of like how someone's supposed to look. And if you look that certain way, you're not good enough. And it's like, I don't give a shit, dude. Like, who are you? You're like, who are you to me even? Like, it doesn't matter.
It helps me to understand why a lot of streamers don't appear on their stream. I used to be curious about that. I used to think, well, why wouldn't you want to be on your stream? But then again, I'm a show business guy. It's like, oh, well, here I am, however I look. You know, this is me. This is what I do. Let's connect. And then I realized that not everybody is comfortable presenting themselves, and they either don't want people to judge them, or they simply don't want people to think about it.
Streaming is very interesting in that way because I've never been as confident as I am right now, but I'm also not. I've never been as when you're not confident.
Insecure?
Yeah, I've never been as insecure as I am right now too about my looks because people will pick you apart on the internet. And they make me notice things that I've never noticed about myself, but now I do, and now they're like stuck in my brain because this person pointed it out, and I never noticed it, but now I do
Hmm.
because one stream this guy was like, "Oh my God, I hate your right eye is smaller than the left one," and I'm like, "Fuck, I never noticed that, and now I do," and I'm like, "What the fuck?" So like it's funny in that way that like it kind of streaming has definitely made me confident, but also less and like more insecure.
Yeah.
So it's like I understand the whole no cam thing. It's like I don't know if you know the streamer Dream. He's a Minecraft streamer and he used to
Yeah.
not show himself at
Hmm.
all. And then he came out last year and showed his appearance and it was this huge deal. And he's a good-looking guy,
Yeah.
but maybe not like a model like people were building up in their head because they had an expectation of how he should look
Yeah, I
based on his
noticed
voice.
some people were immediately critical.
People were terrible. He went viral and he was trending everywhere and people were ripping him apart. He's not an ugly person at all. Like he's a good looking guy. Like
Yeah.
he's pretty handsome, but
Yeah.
people were like they had this expectation in their head of how they wanted him to look.
Right.
So it's definitely like you're putting yourself out there and when people are behind a screen and on the internet, they will be more brutal. They will be more honest because they're hiding behind that screen.
Yeah, I went through a version of that when I first did an on-camera job back in, geez, this is before you were born. And it was on Nickelodeon where,
Oh,
I would do silly stuff,
yeah.
right? So you didn't have to look handsome or anything like that. But I would see it air and I would think, oh, that's what I look like. There are
Mm.
mirrors everywhere. I can see what I look like. But when you see yourself move through a space and interact with other people and you're lit
Yeah.
and you have makeup on and your hair is styled a certain way, you think, oh, well, that's who I am? And
Yeah.
then you can pick yourself apart and you realize millions of people saw that.
Yeah.
And you can become very self-conscious, leaving aside the fact that if you're also in stand-up where they see you every night on stage or you're auditioning for a part and it calls for a
Mm.
certain look, you can easily get way too in your head. And
Yeah.
it takes a while to simply accept that you're going to have faults, you're not going to be perfect, but it's the way it all puts itself together that
Yeah.
matters. Like your one eye is not like the other eye. That's everybody.
Yeah.
There's no literally symmetrically perfect person. We all have imperfections. I mean, I used to have a glorious head of hair. I'm a cue ball now. I'm bald. My wife
Hey,
doesn't
so
care.
is Pathfinder.
Yeah, so is Pathfinder. I have more hair than Pathfinder, and that's about it. Right? But I realized too, and I was losing my hair when I met my wife. She didn't care, right? And so I remember when I did therapy, I used to tell the therapist, I'm worried that if I do this or that, then whatever girl I'm dating, she won't like it. And he always said, the right girl will understand.
Yeah.
And that's the way it goes for people in your life. The right people don't care about that stuff,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
They'll compliment you, of course,
Yeah.
and they'll notice your good parts, your bad parts, or all
Yeah.
that, but they'll understand.
I just think it's because you, as a person, when you look at yourself,
Yeah,
you focus on the bad parts and
of
you
course.
single things out. But when people look at you, you see you as a whole.
Right,
That's the thing. They
exactly.
don't look at that one thing because they don't know that one thing that you're insecure about.
Yeah, they don't, and I think that's the way your stream is too. Obviously, you're going to get that person floating in there. "Oh, I don't like your hair today,"
Yeah.
or what, blah blah blah, and
Yeah.
you realize, oh my God, I wasn't even thinking about that. Now I am. But your stream, they don't care. That's why
Yeah.
they're there. We're
Exactly.
here for Asta. We're here for the cat licking itself. We're here for her stream. We're here for how she talks to us. We're here for how
Yeah.
she engages us. That's what they're here for.
Yeah.
But I know that you've probably got to run because you have a stream to get to.
I do
But
have a stream.
before we go, do you have obviously you want to be with Team Liquid for as long as you can be with Team Liquid? Do you have longer term goals for yourself, not just in streaming, but are you thinking about building out a career
Oh,
and a life
definitely.
beyond that?
Yeah, definitely. I don't like having all my eggs in one basket because
Right.
streaming is never a sure thing.
Right.
Anything can happen. And I have a lot of other interests. Like I love I love fashion and design and stuff like that as
Hmm.
well. So definitely at some point I want to grow my real name, Asta Bush, into like a company, and I'd like to push out like a jewelry line at some point and do stuff like that, which is completely opposite of gaming in general.
Gotcha. I
Yeah.
just speaking for me, Asta Bush is already a really cool
It's not
name.
bad, right? It's
I
not
mean, it
bad.
it kind of. I mean, you're wearing it, right?
Yeah, my merch.
Okay, so you already designed that.
Yeah.
You know who that makes me think of is Roger Federer,
Oh.
because Federer has a an RF design. It's not exactly like that, but it's elegant like that.
Hmm. Yeah, I
So,
wanted to keep it clean. I didn't want it to look too gamer because if I do, I won't be able to use it through my life for other stuff.
right. Okay. Well, then that raises the question: how can people find you when they're not like? How can people find you everywhere, whether it's Twitch or your other things you have going?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, and it's all either Ambush or Asta Bush.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. So that's how you're going to keep up with her. That's how you're going to figure out what she's doing next. But slowly but surely, I have a feeling that whatever it is you want to do, you will be doing it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I
Yeah.
will.
All right.
I will.
Thank you. I appreciate you you joining me, and have a
Thank you
great
for
stream
having
today.
me. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.